Tonight I played a few hours of Fallout 76, and at the risk of getting vilified by the gaming community, I actually enjoyed it. It was kind of fun. Now, I haven't played the game since basically the beta test because I just had no interest in the game. And I will tell you, this is still not the sort of game I'm ever going to rave about and think is the greatest game ever, because it's just not my kind of game. But in spite of that, I did find myself enjoying playing it. Now, I will say I was with a friend, Quorico, and that does help. But normally I can sense if I'm enjoying something because of the game or if I'm enjoying it in spite of the game because of a friend. And usually the telltale signs are I'll be a little frustrated with the game and start to mock it mercilessly, and we'll have good fun essentially ripping it apart. That was not happening. We were playing the game and actually enjoying exploring, looting, the odd fight. We were just having some fun. The game performs a lot better now than it did during the beta, which is no big surprise, but you know, it's good news regardless. I got 60 frames a second at the Ultra preset, and the only issue I had was with some shadow glitching that occurred about halfway through the play session when I started to tweak the graphic settings. Something went wrong and the shadows just went hideous. The game looked appalling. I tried a lot of things to fix it, and in the end what I had to do was delete my INI files so that it regenerated new ones. It's not a major problem, but you know, that's something that should be fixed. Once I did that though, the game looked pretty good actually. I was surprised at how nice the game looks. I remember it looking a lot worse, although I spent more time playing it on an Xbox than the PC. Now, I'm pretty sure the reason the game feels a little more fun is the fact that Wastelanders DLC has arrived and we now have NPCs and dialogue. And it makes a huge difference, it really does. Even after a few hours where we only actually spoke to two groups of NPCs. The other things we spoke to were robots, and they were in the original game. So we only actually spoke to two groups of NPCs, two people who were stood outside of the vault and three people who were in a bar where there was an altercation going on and we had to step in and try and resolve it. But even those conversations, those incidents made it feel, well, just a lot more like a Fallout game. And speaking to the barkeep after the incident, getting a quest, agreeing to do it, just felt so much more engaging than these random events that you pick up from holotapes, or just, you know, some sort of alert goes off and you go off and do an event just to get atoms or whatever you're doing. This feels more, well, more engaging, which is a word I'm probably going to use way too much at the moment, and just more familiar, more like an actual Fallout game, which is a good step. And the dialogue is pretty good actually, it's not bad at all. The voice actors really did a good job, at least from the conversations we've had so far. There were a few issues with the dialogue. For example, there's this odd pause once the NPC's given their line. There's a few seconds before the menu pops up allowing you to choose your next line. That probably needs to be optimized, sped up a little, because it felt a little weird. The other thing, the environmentals sounded a little off for the voices, and by that what I mean is it didn't quite sound like they were speaking in the room I was looking at. When you listen to voices in games, they usually have environmental effects to make it sound like they're, you know, if you're in a cave, it sounds like they're in a cave. If you're out in the open, it sounds like they're out in the open, that sort of thing. It sounded a little off. It wasn't a massive thing, but it is something I noticed.
I mean, it's got its advantages. Main one is that radiation rolls off me like water off a duck's ass.
But it's a good old-fashioned drop-down list of dialogue options. No voiced protagonist, just a list of things you can say and you pick it and that's what you've said. None of this, you have 2 words, you pick it and then your character says 4 lines or something. No, you get entire sentences, you choose what you want to say, you know what you're saying, and there seem to be reasonable choices and reasonable questions. And even if it's only an illusion, the illusion of having meaningful dialogue is important. I'm going to say it is going to get me in trouble with some people, although probably not that many actually. The dialogue in Fallout 76 is now better than the dialogue in Fallout 4, at least from the small sample I've experienced in games so far. That is actually how I want to see conversations. I don't want to see these little dialogue wheels where you say 2 words or you choose 2 words and then your character says 3 sentences. I want to see a Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3 or even Skyrim-esque style dialogue list, and that's what we got in Fallout 76. I would take the dialogue system in Fallout 76 over Fallout 4. I know it's a pretty low bar because most of us were not impressed with the dialogue in Fallout 4, but as I've been saying a lot recently, it's a good sign. It is at least an acknowledgement that the direction they took dialogue in Fallout 4 was a bad one. I'm hoping it's a sign that they have accepted that they need to go back to the old way of doing dialogue with lengthy sentences and hopefully no voice protagonist. And yes, I'm now talking about Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. So that is it really. That is the short summary of my experience in Fallout 76. I'm not going to tell you what happened. If you really want to go and watch the video of the stream, you can. It's going to be long. I will be uploading it to my live channel. I'll leave a link down below if you want to go and check those videos out. But right now, I have a little more positivity towards Fallout 76 and indeed BGS because of this update. Now, I have not delved very deep into it. It is just the first few hours, and if you're wondering whether or not it's worth now buying this game, I would say you should wait until you get some reviews from people you trust, and not just people who have been playing the game non-stop since it came out, because obviously people who have played it non-stop for the last year are fans of the game anyway. You might want to wait until you hear people who tried the game and didn't like it but have now gone back and tried it and see what they think, because they're probably going to be closer to you. And I mean, you can wait for me to play a little more and give you a review if you want, but that'll probably take ages. So I recommend you look for people who go back and play it for like 20, 30 hours solid in the next few days, and then come back and give you a good idea of whether or not you should buy it. If you've already got the game and you're just thinking, is it worth downloading and trying it out? I think it probably is. So if you have played it, but you didn't like it, and a big part of the reason you didn't like it was the world felt empty without NPCs, download it, try it out. It might appeal to you more. Again, not a game that I'm probably going to put in my list of favourite games ever, but, you know, I did have fun. I did have some fun, and I'm probably going to play, well no, I'm definitely going to play again, and I imagine I'm going to continue having fun. For how long? Don't know. Will I find there's tons and tons of dialogue, lots of side quests, and I'll get dragged in? Maybe. Will I get through all of the available conversations in the next 10 hours and be horribly disappointed? Also a maybe. I don't have the information for you at the moment. This is not a review. This is just literally my first impressions of the Wastelanders DLC. It seems to be, you know, a step in the right direction. And yeah, the dialogue in Fallout 76 is now better than the dialogue in Fallout 4. Make of that what you will.